Right, welcome back to Strong, Happy, Healthy, Loved. I'm your host, Carl, and today we've got David Benfell from New Zealand. He's former New Zealand Army and former British Parachute Regiment soldier. He's served a couple of tours to Afghanistan and he was a Red Devil parachutist. He's a hunter and he's an editor for Rod and Rifle magazine and the founder of Soldiers, Sailors, and Aviators. Welcome to the show, Dave. Thanks for coming on, mate. How are you today?
Yeah, good, Carl. Thank you. Round two, we had a power cut yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. It was you saved me a bit of embarrassment, mate. I forgot when we last seen each other. So it was the end of core training. The end
Yeah,
of
or
core
you?
training. Yeah.
Yeah,
January 1997 we joined the army. So yeah, it was probably towards the end of 1997 was the last time we seen each other, mate.
yeah. We might have bumped into each other maybe a year or two later on something. I think we did some training down in the South Island where you guys were,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I bumped into a few of the guys over the years. Bumped into Nowroy a few times, and do a bit of work with Aaron Horrell every now and then, and yeah, saw Hamish M as well a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome, mate. Yeah, I caught up with Aaron Hall not long ago. He was over here on the Gold Coast, so
Yes.
he's actually coming on the podcast in the near future, mate. So yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Well, Aaron was the only one who made me feel good because I thought like, right, I'm almost 50 now. I'm looking pretty good. I feel pretty good. And I see everyone else and they're all looking really good as well. And I was like, damn it. Like even you're glowing, mate. You look and then I saw Aaron and I was like, oh, Aaron's looking terrible. That's okay. That makes me feel better.
Oh, case, bro. We're biggest judges of ourselves, man. I think you're looking pretty
Yeah.
good, bro. I haven't seen you for years, bro, and I think well, I've been following you over the years, mate, and I think you're looking really good considering you couldn't walk there for a while. Hey,
Yes, yes, yes. I have come a long way, that's for sure, mate. Yeah,
yeah,
it's there's always a few potholes in the road at some stage, isn't there?
yeah, mate. So after core training, you went up to First Battalion. How was life up there?
It was good. Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
was really good. They're very different natures, second, first, and first battalion, as probably anyone that served in those two. I'm not claiming to have served in second, first, but just being around you jokers and that, you can see the first battalion lived up to its reputation, a bit more kind of strict in some aspects, and maybe a bit tighter on some of the gear restrictions that in places. And we always sort of saw the second first as a bit more the Wild West. You know, the Mexicans was your guys' nickname because you're a bit more sort of a arriba, arriba.
Yeah, mate. I
But
reckon the reason for it being a bit strict in the North Island, I think it's because there's so much hierarchy up there. That's where all the major rank sort of hangs out, isn't it?
that actually makes sense, mate. I never actually thought of it like that because the Linton camp obviously got so many units there, a lot of high flyers there, a lot of high ranks. That's a
Mm.
really interesting point. A lot more people to observe you as you go about your daily business, which would probably do all that sort of lift not discipline. That's the wrong word. Yeah, you guys are good operators though. Second, first, I think they operated a bit more in line with what I found of the parachute regiment. You
Oh,
guys
wow.
were, yeah. The Paras are really, they're just really everything's about the field. They don't care about drill whatsoever. Their drill is actually they'll do it if they've got something to do. There'll be like a week of hurried drill lessons, and everybody kind of lifts their game, and then we'll sort of always do the best we can. But they don't do drill, and everything's about the field, all
Oh,
about the
that's
field.
awesome. That's so
Yeah,
cool. What about
yeah.
shaving and all that sort of carry on then?
It depends on the operation. I think it kind of depends on the supplies that you're getting in. If you've got regular supplies, regular water, that kind of thing, then yeah, it can get a little bit sort of, yeah, you got to shave a bit often. But out in forward operating bases in Afghan, it's pretty much the Wild West on the tours I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could go full sort of operator
And
bed if you wanted to.
what about for the British? What was it like when how'd they take on a Kiwi into their ranks?
Uh, it was just about as much bullying as you could get away with and not get arrested.
Really?
But in a good, but in a good way, mate. But in a good way because it's you know the way the military is like. It's our love language.
Mm.
It is literally our love language. Is if someone's not paying out on you, you've got to do something because nobody cares about you.
Yeah,
Do you,
that's
you
that
know what I
dark
mean? You
humor, eh?
It's
Yeah,
really that tough. Yeah. So it was, when you go over and join a unit like that and a military, you're kind of on the outside
yeah,
from the straight away. But no,
yeah,
I loved it. I loved it. Made great mates over there. Had some amazing experiences, and yeah, it was a perfect stepping stone. I always say, um, the Kiwi infantry set me up really well to go over there, mate,
yeah,
because of the basis that we had at that time of like jungle training. You know how we were sort of set up for the jungle. You remember all those exercises and the way we
yeah.
were,
We're
and
very, very close country
yeah.
orientated there at
So I
that.
just lost. Oh yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
Yeah,
That actually sets you up for the epitome of soldiering. I think soldiering in an extreme like the snow or the jungle or anything like that, it makes you a better soldier. So I had that in New Zealand, then I took it to the Paras, and it set me up really well. Because the those sometimes the Paras are a bit more like a mallet for smashing things. So they
yeah,
have kind of
yeah,
this sort of that aggressive mindset.
yeah.
And whereas a lot of the jungle stuff is kind of precise and methodical and sort of slow, and if you combine those two things together, you end up with a really good skill set. That's my personal take on it as well. So I had a bit of a head start as well. How did you find it down in second first? You guys
Oh,
had a tough East team, or you had a tough East team or tour
yeah,
after
it
us,
was.
obviously.
Yeah, it was so that would have been back two when we went over there. Yeah, mate. We really, I think the mindset was a little bit different when we started. However, the section I was in, my section commander was kind of gung ho anyway, so our mindset was very much tactical right from day one. And then all that sort of stuff happened when Len got killed, and the tempo as a whole, like I think certain individuals and certain teams and that sort of had were on a heightened level anyway, but as a whole, the whole unit and everything. The tempo went up, and yeah, the professionalism came out big time, and it was really cool to see. And yeah, we're all in it together. It was one and all in sort of thing. So it was and being at that age too, only just 20 years old too. So it sort of makes a man out of you really fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You would have found the same thing. Like you've had some pretty hectic tours over in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we did, but that point that you made there about everyone bonded together. When I left, when I was medically discharged from the regiment after my parachute accident,
Yeah,
um, I really struggled in the civilian world because you just cannot, you struggle to recreate that bond
yeah,
that we had. It was just this
yeah,
very natural. Even some of these guys, you would never talk to them on the street if you didn't join the military. You would never cross paths with them. They're from completely different worlds and completely different, sort of socioeconomic groups, I guess you could say as well. And you've got surfies from little surf towns in New Zealand. You've got real rural sort of back blocks dairy farmers, and you got
yeah,
every sort of ethnicity as well. And when you leave, I struggled to find some, I guess your team. Like, what's my team now? And you stay in touch with the guys, but it's once you move into the civilian world, everything changes. It's a
yeah,
different world and family and everything else and employment. So you still have that bond. Don't get me wrong, but kind of have to find a new team, eh?
yeah.
And I struggled with that.
I agree. I think my biggest struggles were exactly what you're talking about, Dave. It was um, that loss of family and brotherhood and all that sort of stuff. And then I found myself socializing with other people, but that was just wasn't the same. They didn't, they were friends, whereas the friends in the military for me were more like family members, if that makes sense. And then yeah, that finding that purpose as well, finding a job or an organization that gave me just as much excitement as what the army did. That was a real struggle for me. And to be honest, Dave, I've only really just found my purpose in the last year or so.
Wow, that's good to hear that you found it though. Like, I don't think some chaps or some ex-veterans will ever find it. So it's good
Yeah,
that you're on
and
that path, mate.
that's the really sad part about it. I've
Yeah.
met a lot of veterans over the time, and from conflicts prior to our conflicts, and yeah, a lot of them are stuck in that loop of what they once had.
Yeah, exactly right. And you're right, and it's a journey, and you can't. It's good to be nostalgic in a way, but you can't look backwards. You've got to look forwards, and you've got to look for the good things coming up in your life. And I found as well with my own sort of mental health struggles and that, you kind of have to adjust your expectations at times. Like when you're really struggling, the next good thing can be like making a cup of tea. Do
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? You just
yeah,
just bring your level right back down to something manageable. And then as you start feeling better and things are going your way and that, then you can start kind of, okay, I'm going to plan stuff months out, weeks out. I'm going to plan this and you sort of you have to adjust it. But when you're in that little hole, just pull everything back in and just think, right, I'm make myself a nice hot cup of tea and that'll be the first thing I'll do and then brush the teeth or whatever it might be. But it's a journey, it's you can't look back on those old days because for all intents purposes they're gone. You struggle to recreate that. Um have you heard the term uniform chasers?
yeah. I was thinking of it. I've heard something. I don't know if it's the same, but I done a veterans retreat type thing for this very thing, trying to find purpose and stuff like that. And they tell the story of the knight in the rusty armor.
Oh, that
So
sounds good.
yeah,
How does it?
so this it's this I suppose it would be similar to our it's a sort of reflection on our life. So back in the day, there's this knight, and he does these wicked things out, and kills all the beasts and all that sort of stuff, and he gets back to his village, and he's riding through the village, and he's got his armor on, and every single person's coming out of all their houses, and they're all like, "Hey, it's the knight," as he walks past, and he's all proud as punch with his shiny uniform on. And then he goes back to his home. He's so proud he doesn't even take off his helm, and he keeps doing this for years and years and years and years and years. And as the years go by, his armor starts to rust, and not as many people are coming out and clapping and all this sort of stuff. And eventually, he's just this old broken knight on his horse going down the street, and who's that, Mum? And I think it's some knight from back in the day. I don't really know. And then he gets to the stage where he's sitting at the dinner table when he's got a family and stuff at this time, and yeah, he starts crying and all that sort of stuff, and he can finally open it, and his daughter gives him a hug and all this sort of stuff, and the whole story is the knight in the rusty armor. Some things change over time, and we're not the same as who we were back then. We're a different person now, and we've got to take that rusty armor off and be what we are now, the father or the grandfather or whatever.
Yeah, that's so true, man. That's a good story, and I knew that it sounded good as soon as you said night and rust. That sounds good. I've got to hear that one. But
Yeah,
you've got to find that purpose, eh? And because the thing with the military is that you always have a job to do, and there's everybody's pulling together. And I think that it's quite interesting. The more you think about it, because you get introspective, especially as you get older, and uh, you've always got a purpose, and you're all pulling together for a particular goal, right? And you
yeah,
get this warped version of what we think society is about, because we're all kind of
yes.
you're kind of very what's the word? You think you sort of
Above the
trust the
law,
go.
bro.
Yeah. But you sort of trust the government, and you're
Yeah,
almost naive, and you love the country, and you're very
yeah,
patriotic, and there's nothing
mm,
wrong with it. You need people like that, 100%.
yeah,
But because you serve as a young person, you kind of get this idea that the whole of society is like, we're all mucking in together and we'll get to this common goal. And then as soon as you leave, it is the Wild West. You're like, oh my
yeah,
God, nobody gives a damn about me. Like, oh, I'm literally on my own here. And I've got to make it on my own. And then you get into a job and you think it's kind of all that mucking together. And it's like, man, people are out for themselves. And I get it. That's the way it works. That's kind of the way it gets there. And not everyone's like that, and not every job is like that, but there is that element. And I think service people struggle with that Wild West kind of attitude. And sometimes you'll end up taking on jobs of other people, like, oh, well, I'll help you out and all that, but it's not reciprocated. a
No,
lot of the times because
yeah, yeah, it doesn't come back. It's that was a big shock to me as well. Was man, they all stab each other in the back to get a promotion or whatever.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, dude. And you work hard, very hard for some of these jobs. And when I look back, they had no intention of promoting you, giving you
No.
more money, or actually improving your life, but you were just giving everything for this job. Because that's
Mm,
what you do in the military, you know,
yeah.
you really, and you're sort of looking at your teammates like as in the military sort of thing. You don't want to let them down and all that. And it's almost that taking off that armor, man. It's like, right, I gotta kind of adjust. I'll take the good stuff from the military, all the good stuff that it taught me, the discipline, the freaking hard work, the you get the job done, right? Take that good stuff, but you have
Mm.
to leave. There's a certain element of it that I think you have to kind of put to the side. For me, anyway, that's my personal
Yeah, I
experience.
agree. Yeah, it's why I've grown my hair long and all that sort of stuff. There's that. I suppose you fit in. What I try and do these days. Is I look at how they look at the world and try and fit into the way, oh, okay, this is how they're looking at the world. I'll, try and, it's been adaptable. But I think when I first got out of the military, it took me a long time to be, adaptable, a bit more adaptable. We're adaptable when we're in the military for what we're doing, but on
Mm,
the outside, I suppose it's to be adaptable in the brain, to that it's not so much straight down the line. They're a bit more feely and touchy. So it's a bit of a mind game you've got to navigate as well without making
yeah,
enemies at the same time. Yeah.
yeah. I knew you were going to bring up the hair, bro. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for putting the boot in, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
bro.
knew at
Yeah,
some
had to be
stage
done.
I knew at some stage you're going to bring it up. Thanks, man. Yeah, no, cool. It burns.
I think you're looking bloody good, bro. Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
brother. Thanks, brother.
yeah. The
Appreciate it.
beard makes up
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah. Hides a lot of chubby hamster
Yeah,
cheeks, mate.
face armor. Hey,
That's a,
yeah.
yes. Hides a weak jawline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Good stuff, mate.
So
Yeah.
you've got into your thing. I'm really interested. The breath work and that. I've tried box breathing before, which was like a sort of a basic special forces technique that these
Yeah.
kind of comes.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
it didn't it didn't work. It was only a basic thing that I was doing, but it
Mm.
didn't seem to have the effect that I was after. I'm super interested in getting to speaking to someone like yourself and yeah, getting into it a bit more. I love
Yes.
different love different techniques to keep my mental health on track and
Yeah.
to just deal with life. Really, life's just hard in general,
Yeah.
isn't it? Even if everything's going your way, it still can be a bit of a grind.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
for me, it was fitness, hunting, fishing, the outdoors. That to me was my medicine, mate. It was
Yeah.
my absolute medicine. It really was. I managed to
Yeah.
get through some tough times without sort of medication or anything like that. 100% I should have gone to talk to someone
Yeah.
that is hands up. And if there had been medication that would have helped, yeah, if that's what you need at a certain time, no judgment here, freaking,
Yeah. Well,
take it. But yeah, I managed to get through. I just found sunlight,
yeah.
get out in the sun, man, get out into nature, puts things into perspective. There's a lot of stuff you can do for not a lot of money that'll just really keep you going and lift your spirits and bring you joy and everything like that. So
Yeah. You're so right, mate. Look, to be honest, the breath work is what saved me. Well, I didn't know. So only recently, last year, when I was 44, I was diagnosed with ADHD. But prior to that, I was already diagnosed with PTSD and depression and anxiety. Um,
with the ADHD, just sorry to interrupt, I probably could have diagnosed you when we were 18 and we first met, bro. I
but well,
probably
that's
would.
what my parents
I
said as
probably.
well when I told them. It
Hmm.
wasn't really known about back then. So what I found was that all the other stuff was sort of they were feeding off each other. So the medicine for me, the meds didn't do anything because I was obviously on the wrong meds as well at the time. And then when you mix alcohol with it, it just turned into a bit of a, not a very nice cocktail, I suppose. But what originally happened for my journey, I suppose, on the self-healing thing was first it was plant medicine. So I had some magic mushrooms and things like that, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I just happened to stumble across a video on YouTube of a guy called Wim Hof. Now he's
Yes.
otherwise known as the Iceman, and he done all these pretty far out things like walking up bloody mountains with just in his undies and running across the Sahara Desert and all this sort of stuff. I thought, wow, he's that's a bit of a mind over matter going over there. So I was curious of him, and then I seen this just like a minute tutorial on how to do the circular breathing, and I did that, and I had a bit of a moment. I thought, bloody hell, what's this? This is a cool new addiction I found. So I started doing the breathing like all the time. What this breakthrough or trauma release breathing does that I do is you go through a journey where breathwork journey, and you go deep. This is all something that we can do naturally with our own bodies. You don't even have to have any drugs or anything like that, and you can have this release. So I do the breathing all the time now, and yeah, it's my way to just become one and then reset my nervous system, because most of the time we operate in fight or flight, and a good test to find out if you're operating in fight or flight all the time is count how many breaths you have in 1 minute. And if you're breathing more than 12 times in 1 minute, you're in fight or flight. If you breathe, your optimum, you want to be breathing less than 12 times a minute. And then obviously elite athletes and things like that, deep divers, they could breathe like 4 times a minute. So
Sure.
yeah, so that's a little bit of the breath stuff there. So yeah, it was
Uh,
basically how I became at one with myself, and got to have a look on the inside of what's really going
yeah.
on, because what's on the inside is going to be on the outside, and your personality is your reality.
Absolutely, man. No, I absolutely concur with a lot of what you're saying. I'm very keen to get into it and try it as another technique or aspect, a positive aspect I can use in my life. I remember a lot of what you're saying resonates a lot because you come off these tours and you're carrying this weight, and the more weight you carry that you ignore, the you can't go on forever. It's the same as
Yeah,
anything. You try picking up any sort of weight, and it's okay at first, and then the longer you carry it, the more you're going to break down. And I remember at times when I was sort of struggling to come to terms with things. I remember this one time, it was like Friday afternoon, and I was like, I'm going for a hunt, and I raced through all my work, and I was like, typing and emails are flying at everyone. I got to get on this hunt, right? I freaking let's go. I got to get away, and chucked everything in the truck, and I hoyed off down to the desert road, our old stomping ground when we were training, and I walked in. I think it was a couple of hours walk in, got into this beautiful little beach forest, and there's a little creek going through, and there was a bit of wind coming, and it was just out of the wind, and it was so warm. And I sat down, and I was like, right, it's a few hours before dark. I'm going to have a quick munch, and then I'll head out on the sun. I sat down, and my whole body just went ugh, and I
yeah,
went, you know what? I can't even move. Like freaking, I got my sleeping bag out. I slept for about 12 hours, and I woke up and felt amazing. And I'd not been listening to my body at all. Just
yeah,
everything's just manic. That what modern life now is just one thing after the other, one thing after the other. You don't get a chance to just sit down and just actually feel what you're feeling, right? And I
mm,
sat there in that beach. I always remember that patch of beach for us. I remember that little creek now. It's my little happy place. And I was out the whole time. Like I don't even remember moving for that whole time. And it
yeah.
kind of resonates with what you're saying. You need to put that weight down, and you need to address those demons. The more you try and sort of run from them, you can't run from them.
The
And they
longer we
will.
carry them, the heavier they get, bro.
That's right. And I think when you address them, you can allow them to come out in a healthy way.
Yep,
And if you don't address that, I just think it'll wear you down, and it'll end up coming out in a self-destructive way a
yep,
lot of the time. And talking about it's a big thing as well. Like this, I found talking about it's good. It's tough, but it's got to happen. And it's
yeah,
people like yourself, people like yourself, veterans that have you've found a way, and you've moved forward with your life, and and what you do is you share it. Now you're sharing it, and that's the thing as well. Some veterans will leave and they go off and they have great lives and they're not really nostalgic, and that's amazing. I love that. But a lot of us, it's a bumpier road.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
to get to where we're at and to turn around and say, right, I've got an idea now. And yeah, funnily enough, that's the way the charity came about. It's literally the Soldiers, Sailors, Aviators Association is my
brilliant,
way.
mate. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. It's
yeah,
literally
very
my way
brilliant.
of saying I just fitness, get together, talk, laugh, reunite that bond, reignite that bond, maintain that bond. If you don't have that aspect in your life, you need to put it into it. We're not made to live in offices all the time. We're
Yeah.
not made to not have some kind of physical goal, whatever it
Mm,
is. It could be a walk around the park, it doesn't matter. But you've got to get into the sunshine. You've got to test yourself. You've got to learn new skills that have a positive impact on your life. And once you've learned one, go and learn another one. Because sometimes, we do a lot of hunting and fishing and diving and that kind of thing. Some things won't resonate with someone. But
mm,
when someone comes on an event, Carl, it's like one of the things we always say at the start is we're going to share this experience learning how to hunt together. But at the end of it, if it doesn't vibe with you and it doesn't give you that feeling and you're not sort of really, really excited to learn that skill, all we want you to take away from this trip is that you need to have something and find the thing that brings you joy. Find the thing that gets you out of the house, either when you are feeling great or not feeling great. It doesn't matter. You got to find it, identify it. It could be bike riding, mountain bike. It doesn't matter. You need it in your life because it's another technique that you can use when things aren't going so well and you need to clear your head.
yeah,
It all helps.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And one thing I try and with the depression and things like that, like what you're saying, you definitely we need to have a purpose, and we need to. There's nothing wrong with thinking of the old times every now and again.
Yeah.
That's healthy, but we can't stay on that and get stuck in that. Embrace
Yeah.
it, have a moment, have a cry, and then step forward and move on and crack on and have a purpose. Now that we're not soldiers in life, I suppose it's not the end of it. There's still other things out there. And for me personally, creating this, what I'm doing at the moment, it's the most scariest thing I've ever done. It's almost scarier than when I was in the, going overseas because, let's face it, putting yourself out there and being personal and letting people look into your personal life, that's pretty bloody scary for me. And that's what my drive is to keep me going, is stepping into my fear, because I find every time I step into something scary, with regardless of that scary thing, I always
You
get
grow.
something out of it.
You
Yeah,
grow.
you
You
grow
grow.
from it, and you get something else, and you grow out of it, and that leads on to something else. And like you said, getting out and um, doing things like just being in nature and meeting people, because that connection can lead to something else and can lead to something else, and next thing you're in a better spot than where you were before, just because you decided to step out that door.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Exactly. I think Jimmy Carr makes a kind of a point as a British comedian. He's pretty out there, but he makes a point. If he's talking about his kids, right? And he's saying if you give them everything that they want, if you're afraid to parent them and discipline them
Yeah,
and sort of Craig,
yeah,
give them everything they want and see what happens. He said you'll create fat, stupid
yeah.
humans that just stay inside and play on the computer games all day and will never learn to look after themselves. So you know what I mean? The
It's
growth,
a
it
hardship
hurts.
that creates us.
Hardship creates you, man. It really does, eh? Like
Yeah.
when I broke my back, part of the parachute action was spinal damage and nerve damage to
Yeah.
my
So,
lower
so
body.
how did that, before you tell us about that, how did that
Yeah.
happen? Can you tell us a wee bit
So
about the Red Devils
yeah,
and
yep. Yeah, the Red Devils. So after my second tour to Afghan, I was, and this is all in retrospect, right? So you just
yeah,
look back. At the time,
yeah,
you just like get on with it, do
yeah,
something. You're like, "Ugh, ugh." It's you not even thinking about how you're feeling. But I wasn't sleeping well. I was burnt out, really burnt out. A lot of the
yeah,
stuff we did over there, I was sort of either lead scout, lead vehicle, or lead patrol, that kind of thing, because I was a
yeah,
corporal at that time. So and it burns you out. Like working in
Mm.
IED country, like they when they switched on, that IEDs worked. The first
Yeah,
tour we only struck a few IEDs. Second tour, in a 2 day period, we hit 5 IEDs. Like that's just in
yeah.
2 days. Where the strain is insane.
Mm.
And when you're up the front, leading, so I'd have, if it was a vehicle move, I'd have my lead scout, and then I'd be the second vehicle, just controlling, sort of making sure our routes are all good. Like the strain is incredible. So, and yeah, at some points I think back and it pushes you at almost a breaking point, but you don't
Yeah.
realize that you're just sort of so focused, and you're young and confident and fit
Mm.
and strong and everything else. Like the body's so strong
Yeah.
and you're so sharp, and I was so switched on to everything that was going on. That hypervigilance, which is terrible in a civilian world, like it'll
Yeah.
kill you.
Oh, it's
But in
it's
a in a
perfect in
in a
that
war zone,
environment. Yeah.
it's a lifesaver, and it
Yeah.
did save lives for all of us. There were so many of the guys that were so good at picking things and picking up things and seeing things,
Yeah.
and I got really good at it as well. And but that hypervigilance is no good in the civilian world. So I got back off that second tour, and I was like, oh, I can't do a third tour. There was a third tour looming,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, I would have gone and done it, but I said, well,
Yeah.
I got to try something else. So I've done a little bit of skydiving,
Yeah.
and
It's good fun. I've done a little bit.
yeah, it's cool, eh? Yeah, it's really neat. And
Yeah.
so the Red Devils is basically like, it's more like recruiting. It's more like recruiting for the military.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they do they do air shows. They
It's
swan
it's
about.
like
They
a it's like you're at the way I see it from my world when I hear of the Red Devils, it's like, whoa, straight away you think best parachutists in the world, and you think, and they're all special forces, and I follow a couple of the YouTube things, and this dude, he's cruising down, mate, and he's got boom, 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 people stacking up on top of him, and he's like, "Earth, Earth, Earth." I'm like, "Wow, bro, that's
yeah
that's the doing all that at that speed,
yeah.
awesome, bro."
It's so cool, mate. And yeah, so there's a selection course. I passed that, and it's a bit like being a
Good.
rock star.
Yeah,
And I got in, but I was in my first year. I actually wasn't a super experienced Red Devil and had done all the top level stuff. I was in my first year. I'd done 250 jumps or whatever, around there, and I just had one of those health and safety inspectors dream incidents, right? It was
yeah, wow,
basically just like it was basically like 4 or 5 things that lined up in a line, which put me in a really bad spot.
yeah,
And low cloud, high winds, and I ended up, yeah, coming down low, fast, and I hit the ground super hard. Instantly
yeah,
broke my back.
wow.
So I snapped my back straight away. Burst fracture, so a vertebrae just went, and
Fuck.
I was there on the ground, and the helicopter landed to pick me up, take me to hospital, and he was like, "Is can you feel that?" It's like, "Nah." He's like, "Can you move that?" I thought I was moving, and no, can't feel that.
Right.
And passed out on the helicopter, and woke up now and then after, I think I had 9 hours of and I woke up periodically, and yeah, and then it must have been a couple of months or something. I was completely paralyzed from the waist down, like completely.
Wow.
Legs,
Fuck,
legs,
bro.
legs just went like that. Couldn't move them, couldn't feel them. Like that's from the waist down, dude. That's everything. Like can't go to the toilet, can't
Fucking
get out of
hell.
bed. I'm just lying there, and it's yeah, no, it was not good. It was a
Whoa,
rough
that would
journey,
have that would have
man. It
rough
was a rough
journey,
journey.
mate.
It
Yeah.
was.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what's the military training really saved me. It really sort of that toughness.
Yeah.
I tried not to get too down on myself. I tried not to I tried to set goals.
Yeah.
And in the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital, where I was initially, I was the only person in orthopedics that asked for an exercise bike to be placed next to my bed once I started moving in that. So they
Yeah.
they they bought an exercise bike out of the gym because basically
Yeah.
they had only a certain amount of time you could go to everybody got
Yeah.
like 40 minutes or whatever. And I was saying to the freaking therapist, I need some, I'm not going to do 40 minutes a day. I want to do 3 hours a day. How can you
Yeah.
help me? Like, the half an hour in the pool, that's not enough. I need to triple that time. Let's go. And they're like, "Wow." And no one's ever no one's ever asked for this before.
Good on
And
you, bro.
yeah, so
How long was it between the period of breaking your back and then finding out that you can start to be mobile again and stuff like that during that period? That must have been a pretty scary period.
yeah, the first couple of months was complete paralyzed. And then my little toe started moving, and I like went to the nurse, I can move my little toe, and she came over, and she's like, "I'll get the doctor." So the doctor comes over, and I was like, "Oh, I can move my toe." And he's like, "Okay." So he tested everything else first. He was like, "Can you feel this?" No, it can't be. Like, do that. Right? Can you move your toe now? And the freaking thing wouldn't move, eh? It like wouldn't move, and
Oh,
he
so it
he
was moving
he
before, but not
oh
now.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he sort of patted me on the head and he's like, "Have some more morphine, mate. You've got a push button morphine thing. You know, get some more morphine." I was like, "No, it moved. It moved. It really did." And the next morning when I woke up, mate, I could move that toe at will. Same toe, I could move it at will. And the doctor said, he goes, "You have a complete nerve, and it goes from the break, it goes all the way down your leg to the end." He said, "That is amazing." He said,
Wow.
because you've got that complete nerve. He said, he says, "I don't know what you'll get back." He says, "I can't tell,
Yeah.
but that is amazing." And then it was just day on day, and it went from into the wheelchair, and then into a Zimmer frame,
Yep.
and then yeah, just progress from there. And it was about a year and a half in kind of rehabilitation, and then I was medically discharged
Yeah.
out of the paras, and I
Yeah.
came home to New Zealand. When I came back to New
Yeah.
Zealand, man, I was a mess. I was a
Yeah. When
mess.
you came back,
Yeah, I was a mess from
so
Afghan, a
what
mess
was
from the injury. It was just yeah.
how mobile were you when you came back to New Zealand?
Even now, so basically, it's my left leg is numb,
Yeah.
and my right leg is about half the size of the left leg.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
from the knee down, I don't really have any. So from the right knee down, there's no calf, there's
Yeah.
no ankle movement. So it restricts my strength. I
Yeah.
can't. I'll never be able to run again.
Yeah.
Um, and I plod along. You know, I'll do. I've done walks over the Alps, sort of 70, 75 Ks over five
Wow.
days, 5, 6
Yeah.
days. I just plod. I'm the last person in the queue. If there's, five, six, eight or nine of
Yeah.
us, I'm the last one. Doesn't matter. I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll
Fucking
just,
that brilliant that
yeah,
you're walking again, man. That's yeah, awesome. So you came back to New Zealand a bit broken on the outside and the inside, mate.
I was.
Mm.
It's a bit of a journey, mate. It's a bit of a journey,
Yeah.
but it's those things that make you. And I've come
Yeah.
to the place now, and you could probably hear my 2-year-old wailing just there before.
Yes, you've
Uh,
got kids now, mate. How cool's that?
I've spawned. I have
Yes,
spawned.
mate. Yeah, he's got me some mini David Benfells running around there. That's awesome, mate.
So
Yeah.
yeah, because that was all in the air, man. That was all part of the kind of just everything was just yeah. And with the Afghan stuff, it was one experience that kind of crystallized it for me for my journey. I was staying at mum and dad's place, and I was sleeping downstairs in their kind of rumpus room area, and I don't even know. I think I'd been crying from about 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I just woke up and I was in bits. And then mum
Mm.
came in at about 6 or 7 in the morning. So, you want a cup of tea or something like that. And I was just still in absolute bits. And
Yeah.
I think it was just a bad day. But that's what kind of stuff has to come out. It's got to come out.
Mm.
It's going to come out one way or the other.
Yeah.
Can't deny it.
Yeah.
It either comes out healthy or it comes out in a negative way. And that was
Yeah.
me. And I had all these emotions and feelings that I should have felt at a time what a normal human being would feel. I
Mm.
should have felt it then, but I couldn't feel it then because you had a job to do. People
Yeah.
rely on you. You've got a patrol to run. You've got all sorts of stuff. You've got to be switched on.
Yeah.
You put it into its little box, and the more boxes you put there that you don't deal with later on,
Yeah.
it becomes this bloody house of horrors. Becomes
Yeah.
like a house of horrors, and that's the way it'll affect you later on. That was one
Yeah.
of the ways it sort of came out for me, and um, yeah, and I started just with the hunting thing. Like I was so weak, mate. It was like it was
Yeah.
it was actually quite pathetic. Like but But
And you would have beat yourself up a lot too, for me
yeah,
personally, when I've been down and out, like, to be honest, man, like the reason why I was the biggest thing that's happening at the moment for me is reconnecting with all the boys, through this is, through this podcast and the breathing and all that sort of stuff. And what I've found out, yeah, along the way is that we've all had very similar paths. And when I talk to the other guys, they, their answers are very similar as well. And I think one of them for me, was I was embarrassed of my conditions and what I had become from what I used to be was the biggest thing. I was like, I used to be the soldier and onto it and a funny guy, and now I'm, having anxiety attacks and I'm fucking breaking down, and and that whole thing that sort of bred into us when we're soldiers, lame and lazy and pussies and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
I started labeling myself with all that sort of stuff, and I became embarrassed about my stuff. So I guess I hid away and then just tried to find my tribe for a long time. And then it wasn't until I really started to go through the healing process and looked at my own mental stuff. And that's when I realized that, the biggest part of healing is the first things to speak about it, and to once you can talk about how you feel on the inside, there becomes a path that you can follow.
100%, man, 100%. And then I mentioned before, you take the good stuff away from the military, but you got to leave some stuff behind, you know?
Mm,
You really do. That negative attitude you're talking about, that
yeah.
is what holds a lot of the brothers back from stepping up and saying if they're struggling,
Yeah.
because that was weakness. And in the military, you do not show
Mm,
weakness. You do not go
no.
sick. You crack on. You keep getting the job done, and you get up and you do it day after day, and that's the way it works. And that
Mm.
that that is actually in a way, it's a good thing sometimes.
It's good for that environment,
And
I think.
other
Yeah.
times it'll freaking, because and when even in normal life, sometimes you have to just man up and get stuff done and just
Yeah.
do it. As long as you're looking after the other side of yourself, as long as you're looking after yourself, you can do that. You can man up and, all right,
Mm,
I'm just gonna push through and get this job done. But if you're doing that too often and you're neglecting all that other side of yourself, your own health, your own mental health, that
yeah.
side of it, you're carrying too many boxes and too many demons.
Mm,
It's a one-way trip to somewhere not very freaking pleasant, man.
yeah.
And
And
yeah,
yeah,
it's
definitely. For me, now, because I learn all these things. That's why I created this breathwork system and stuff like that, and what I'm doing at the moment, because I've kind of condensed my own suffering down and into a short healing type thing. So, and I think one of the things I do these days is, the yin and yang, or a roller coaster type thought on life, because what I've noticed is we need to go into those dark places and have those not so great days, because they create that yin yang. There's always an upside's going to happen. So for me, when I have a bad day nowadays, I almost get a little bit excited that, well, I know it's going to be pretty cool when I start
gonna
going
up.
up, because you
Yeah.
start feeling grateful, because you can't, if you're
Ah,
all going
yeah.
to be good all the
Wow.
time, you can't be grateful, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, that is such a good point. Gratefulness has really helped me out in my life as well, dude. To
Mm,
be grateful for basic things. There's this tendency now to, especially in the West, there's a tendency to be very negative on ourselves, negative on our countries, negative
yeah.
on everything. And you know what? We should be critical of governments and we should hold our leaders to higher regard, but not if it affects your life in a negative way.
Yes, I
Not if
agree.
you,
Yeah.
just being down on the climate and everything and just feeling
Mm,
hopeless.
yeah.
Like I see young people nowadays, man. I'm like, dude, none of that is your concern.
Yeah.
None of that is your problem, and you cannot affect change where you are right now on any of that.
Yeah.
Not
And
even if you like
yeah.
recycle, what even. So there's an environment that we have now, which if we let it intrude too much in our person, it's very negative. I think it's
Yeah.
really damaging modern life. And
I totally agree. And
yeah,
media and everything and the way the
yeah,
world's going pushes all that. And I think what I used to go get. emotionally involved in all that stuff, and that's why these days I'm like, if it doesn't affect you directly, don't
Yeah,
don't get emotionally involved in it. It's okay to know about it, but if it's going to make you an emotional, don't go looking for it. It's
sure.
and then there's that emotional maturity is another thing. Trying to just do the right thing instead of doing what your emotions are telling you to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's okay not to have an opinion on something if you don't really
Yes.
know what you're talking about. It's
Yep.
cool. Like just if you're having a beer with your mates, yeah, like say whatever, like just relax, say, speak your mind in that. But in a
Yeah.
social media environment, if you don't know the whole story or you're not very educated in a certain area, it's okay to not have an opinion on something and just
Yeah.
keep it and just
Yeah.
relax, keep your ears open, learn some stuff if you want to learn stuff, but don't go full charging into silly things and yeah, it's that whole social media space, I guess.
Yeah. And
It's
what you were
a
saying,
double-edged sword.
yeah, and what you were saying before about learning things, I think that's another part of this journey. I think you get to a stage where you're like, when you that whole loss of direction and stuff like that. But I think every single day we can learn something, and I think if we have the attitude to learn a new knowledge or a
Yeah,
skill or something like that moving forward, just that in itself gives you purpose and knowledge and things like that, and never think you know everything. Because if you think you know everything, you must. Well, that's it. You've done your journey. It's time to go bye bye. Yeah.
exactly, exactly, mate. And and it's so right. What you say as well, it's exactly right. I have a routine now when I wake up in the morning, eh? And the stuff that you're talking about, Wim Hof,
Yeah.
I do cold water plunges as well,
Yeah,
and it's
awesome. Same. Yeah,
obviously
awesome.
feels amazing. But there's
Yeah,
another aspect that I've seen in other people, not so much in my journey, but I see it in other people, people that are struggling with panic attacks, anxiety, that kind of thing.
yeah,
It gives things like that give them confidence in their own
yes,
selves. It's a confidence boost, isn't it? It's a
yeah,
parachute jump. It's that facing your fears. They don't think they
yes.
can do it. It sounds crazy. I'll never be able to do that. I won't do it. And all of a sudden, when big burly tattooed freaking infantrymen are stood on the bank of the freezing cold lake going, oh, I don't want to, I'm not going in there. And then you got some sort of 5'5" girl just going straight in, and
Yeah,
and she's straight in there for however long. It is confidence boosting, and
absolutely. Yeah,
people need those things. It's all armor, it's all techniques to keep you going.
yeah, and
Um,
stepping it, being vulnerable, bro. Being
yeah,
vulnerable, stepping into vulnerability, I think.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Another aspect of the charity, mate, is when you get veterans together, the freaking laughter
Oh,
doesn't
it'd be awesome.
stop for like 3 days, dude. Even people that don't
Yeah.
know each other and from different units and different kind of aspects, it's so healthy
Can
because we.
can you can you tell us a bit about the soldiers, sailors, and aviators? Tell us all about it. It's a good place, a good time to plug your business, mate.
So I have this vision for the veterans community in New Zealand. It's never been done anywhere in the world. We replace that old way of getting together of, you know what it is, get together, a bunch of bourbons and freaking have an
Yeah,
awesome night. Don't get
yeah,
me wrong. I love that sort of thing. It's super fun.
yeah.
It's not healthy though.
I
It's
totally
not
agree,
healthy.
bro.
And
Agree.
and
Yeah,
and and sometimes the best healing happens on those nights at like 1 in the morning when someone's finally going to speak honestly and say that they're struggling, right? So,
yeah.
and then in the morning, a little bit awkward, and if you need me, you just have to ask, rah rah. But it's not a healthy way to get that sort of thing out. So
No.
we want to replace that model, man. Outdoor activities.
Yep.
We get money, as much money in as we can. No one is paid. We're all volunteers. The whole staff is volunteers.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we're running 16 to 18 events in New Zealand every year, up and
Oh,
down the
awesome.
country.
Yeah.
We
All over New
subsidize,
Zealand.
yeah, all over, up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. From
Cool.
Southland, Northland, we need it. We need to sort of get some stuff going. Northland, we do events in Auckland, where we've done a couple events in Northland. We need to do better there, but
Yeah.
but we don't have much money. We're a tiny charity, and we make about 30 to 40K a year. That's our turnover
Yeah.
the whole year. To
Yeah.
run to run 16 to 18 events on that amount of money is insane.
That's
Like what we
awesome.
do, we're economical. Yeah.
And do you find because I've found this. I'm curious of the answer here. So what we were talking about before, the old way of getting information out, going and having a few beers with the boys, and maybe having a sad moment, as opposed to how fast does that occur when you're at nature and you've been away from technology and alcohol for a few days, and your natural self comes back? How much more open do people become? Hey.
Yeah. Some people become very open.
Mm,
I've had some of the best conversations sitting on a mountain hill, pair of binoculars in the hand, just sitting next to one of the bros,
yeah.
and just like, yeah, I'm not doing so well, man. And those moments are just, it's powerful, eh? It's
That's when you know
powerful.
you're doing the right thing, eh, bro? You're on
100%,
that
dude.
path. Yeah, I feel
It's
the same after a breath when I've taken one of the boys through a breathwork session, or whoever, anybody really, whether it's via Zoom or in person. It's at the time I'm just going through the emotions, going through the motions of the what I have to do. But at the end of it, the feedback really gives me and that's what makes me do this. That feedback really gives me a bit of a buzz, and the same as these podcasts. When I get certain messages from certain people, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know they will watch. That's cool. And some of the messages, they give that really nice warm feeling, bro. It's and
yeah,
and that's growth and journey, and anybody can do that. And to do that, you've got to take that step and get out of your bed or your room, or off the bottle, and step out into the nature and step into your fears, I guess. Hey,
exactly, man.
like
It
what we
feeds
used
you,
to
eh?
do. Yeah,
It keeps you going, mate, honestly, because it's a lot of time, a lot of family time away, so much organization. And you need those moments to sort of, to keep you motivated and keep you going in that, because
yeah,
we want it to take over the whole model of the way veterans maintain their bond and
yeah.
get together and communicate. It's a healthier model. The other one
Mm,
still applies. We'll have beers when we do a 5 or 6 day walk across the Alps. We do two of those a year.
yeah,
At the end of that, we go to Hamner Springs and we have a bit of a celebration. But to be honest with you, it's not our old school celebration. It's like a middle-aged, aging veterans. So it's
yeah.
like 10:30 at night. Everyone's like,
Time for bed.
yes,
Not 5:30 in the morning like the
no,
old days.
oh,
Yeah,
5:30 in the morning, and then going doing a bloody 8, 10K freaking pack march. And
yeah, yeah. Or Chunder run.
yeah, yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
Roll up and down the hills, roll up and down those hills until you all vomit.
that's right. Exactly, exactly. Good days, eh? Yeah,
Yeah,
character building.
yeah. Oh, absolutely, bro. And so tell us. So with all that adventure training and the hunting and all that sort of stuff, there's a wee bit of a dream here that I've noticed. You used to read Ride and Rifle a lot, and then you ended up becoming the editor for it.
Yes, I did. I've actually just resigned from that job and just left that as well. I've done that 3 or 4 years now, but
Yeah,
it's just quite funny to think about the journey. When I got back to New Zealand, I found such an appreciation for what we have here. I just thought this is amazing. I would look around and other Kiwis weren't really that jazzed about it, or they weren't going fishing, or they lived next to this amazing dive spot and they've never been diving. And
yeah,
I was like, I got to write about this, man. We got to get Kiwis moving. Like, this is no good. This is no
yeah,
good. There's look, you can see the mountains. They're just outside the door. Go and freaking climb one. You can do it. Build yourself up to it and you'll be at the top there. Be one of the coolest things you ever do.
yeah,
And you just keep doing that sort of thing. So I wrote an article about it, and the magazine, the editor at the time, Brendan, was like, "Whatever you write, man, we'll print it. Yeah, just send it in." And I was like,
that's
"Oh,
so
cool."
cool, bro.
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure, okay, writing." Never thought of it, but yeah, yeah. And then it was only a year later that I became editor for one of the other magazines, and then subsequently Ride and Rifle. And it's been an amazing journey. It really has, and I love the family aspect to it as well, mate. Like that's really important for me too. I
Yeah,
say to my son, my 8-year-old son, you'll learn hunting,
yeah,
and I'll put you in front of an animal, and if you want to pull the trigger and you want to harvest that animal and sustain the family, you can do it. If you never want to do it again, that is fine with me. Okay, if you don't vibe with it, I will not
mm,
force you to do it, but you will appreciate where your food comes from. You will not just blindly eat meat without
Mm,
appreciating that it was an animal and actually having some kind of connection to that process, the
that
dressing out of it, the
mm,
actual what it actually means.
that makes
And
you
so,
make such a
yeah,
great point there, bro. That gives me makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up when you say that, bro. It's and because we take that for granted these days, we just go into a supermarket and pack it all up and don't even think about the life where it came from.
exactly, man, exactly. And as
Mm,
hunters, there is that aspect to it, and it is a little bit violent,
mm,
and it can be a bit gross when you're dressing the animal out. But as a hunter, you're connected to that. You don't try and cherry coat it. You don't try and sort of you face up to it, and that's what it
That's
is. And
that
if you
yin and
if you
yang,
want,
isn't it?
it's all right. If you want to be a carnivore,
Mm,
go and hunt something just once. Just do it
yeah,
once. Understand, and then some people might even be vegetarians after that, and that's cool as
yeah,
well. You've got to
yeah,
follow your heart. But my son will do it once, and then if he never wants to do it again, that's fine. But he will always have an appreciation. And then later on down the track, because the modern world we live in, mate, is meat is so expensive. Food in general is expensive. New Zealand is very expensive. If I can
crazy.
fill my freezer year round with fresh, organic, wild game meat, it is a massive boost. It's a massive savings to us as well. So
Yeah,
just to
that's
have that in,
awesome.
have it in your back
Mm,
pocket, have it in your back
yeah,
pocket, and be
and
able
it's
to do it.
another skill to the tool set as well.
Exactly right. And it's a healthy skill.
Mm,
It's really
yeah.
healthy, eh?
Especially in
Absolutely.
hard times as well, Who knows what could happen with the world, but that hunting was a very, very good skill to have because it's the first skill we would learn if we were born back as cavemen, isn't it?
100%, mate. And it doesn't have to be climbing mountains to get freaking, deer or mountain goats or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
Rabbits, hares, small game. It's
yeah,
everywhere. The
mm,
land is good to us if we work in balance with it and we
mm,
understand it. So just to
yeah,
have that skill, like it'd be very amusing to watch someone. I talk to people that appreciate that, like what you're saying, but they don't have the skills to do it, and they sort of have
yeah.
this idea that, oh, I'll just be able to do it. It's like,
Well,
no, it's it's an
you
actual
mentioned,
skill.
yeah. This would be a good time to tell you a little story here of yours. You mentioned earlier on that because of your injuries, you're moving a bit slower, and there's some was hunters in another area, so you ended up going to an area that they thought was quite hunted out, and there wouldn't be anything
Yeah,
in there, and because of your disability, you actually became a very, very good tracker and picked up on all the animal sign and all that. And can you tell us a wee bit about that?
100%, man. And you mentioned meditation before. And the hunting to me became a meditation because it's a time when you simplify your life down for just a few days or even an afternoon, whatever it is. Everything boils down to a very primeval, natural way of existing, right? And because I'll never be the strongest hunter, I'm not the mountain climber anymore, dude. I'm very, very wonky. I get sore.
Yeah.
I'm very limited. So what I have to
Mm.
do is I have to switch on more, but it's not like our infantry days. It's a very peaceful feeling where I connect to the environment now. Because if there's one deer in that whole area, I have to find it.
Yeah.
Because the other guys that walk past it, they're going to walk for 20 Ks in a day. I can't do that. I'll never be able to
Yeah.
do that, right?
Yeah.
They will walk until
Methodical.
they find one. Yeah. So I've got to slow down. I've got to find the one that they walk past. And that's the
Yeah.
way I've approached it. And it brought me so much pride that I started pulling animals out of these areas. Like hundreds of hunters were going past these spots. And I just slowed down and I read the sign. And I could tell that there were animals in areas, but if you weren't seeing them, there's a reason. And then at
Yeah.
different times of the year, the seasons would change and the feed would be in different areas and they would require different things. And I started to learn that. And I became very, very good at pulling animals out of these areas. I became a good hunter in my own right. And
Yeah.
there's a feeling that I get when I go out there. It's a very simple, ancient hunting. And there's a part of me that just relaxes into it, feels the wind,
Yeah.
feels the temperature, just scans, and I'm just at peace with myself. It's my meditation.
Yeah.
Not saying it'll work for everyone or it is for everyone, but Sains is about you exploring and find that thing, whatever it is.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
got to find it. You've got to find it. It's there. It's in front of you. You might even know what it is, but
yeah,
because life is busy, you don't do it. And oh yeah,
yeah,
no, well, 3 months time after I've done this job and that job, and I've done the fence and the house and the lawns and all that, yeah, I'll definitely do it then. Years
yeah,
can go
yeah,
by. Years can go by if you don't. You got to be firm. You got to lock it in. Put it in the diary. Take the time off work. This
yeah,
is what's happening.
yeah.
You know?
That's so cool, man. And with all that hunting stuff, you're there's some legislations and ethical standards and stuff like that you're trying to uphold in the hunting community in New Zealand.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a niche, for this topic, but we have a duality in New Zealand where because they're introduced, when we don't want to respect the animal, we call them a pest. That's
Yes,
for hunters
yeah,
themselves and
yeah.
anti-hunters. So it's a pest. It's introduced. It's
Like
bad.
possums in New Zealand, but they're protected here in Australia.
Exactly right. You
Yeah,
see? And now
yeah,
I see it differently. I think we as hunters and all of New Zealand needs to get over that. They've
yeah.
been there for over 100 years. They have massive value to New Zealand as a whole. They're incredible. They're beautiful creatures.
Mm,
When kept in balance and managed, they are a big boost to this country. And there's a word taonga in Māori, which is sacred. I
yeah,
believe they're sacred,
yeah.
and they are also a valuable resource for
Mm,
Kiwis. There's enough
mm,
animals running around there for people to go and fill their freezers, which in this
yeah,
time is amazing. So I believe we should always try and put the animal down as quickly, as cleanly as we can.
yeah.
If the shot is risky or dodgy and you don't think it's a good chance of putting it down cleanly, then you shouldn't take it.
Don't
Wait
take
or
it.
get closer. Yeah, wait or get
Mm,
closer. And it's a journey. If you're a newer
mm.
hunter, people get excitable and they really want to get there. I get it. I tell you, I've been there.
That's the emotions taking over, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
the emotions.
yeah.
But there's a recently the government, the Department of Conservation has allowed thermal handheld thermal devices to be used uh,
Oh,
on public land.
on public
And
land.
yeah, it's part of the reason why I left the Rider
Yeah.
rifle because,
Wow.
for one, I don't think it's safe. I
No.
think there's too many during the day, so you can only use it during the day, and you can only have a handheld one. Out of
Yeah.
the last three deaths in New Zealand hunting related, two of them were with thermal scopes. So
Right.
that's people
And they
looking
thought
for
it
the
was an
thermals.
animal, but it was a
They thought it was an
person.
animal. It was a person, and both
Because
both
we know what
both
people
ended
look
up in
like through,
fatalities.
we know what it looks like through thermal. I haven't looked through thermal for quite a few years, but I do remember what it looks like, and
Yeah,
it just heat signatures. It doesn't that doesn't show hands and fingers and all that sort of crap, does it?
exactly right. Well, there's some good ones out there now, but it all depends, as you know, the ambient temperature of things around
Yeah.
the temperature of the rocks in Canterbury, very rocky
Yeah.
terrain.
Yeah.
So there's the safety thing, but it
Mm.
really affected me because that meditation aspect I spoke to you about with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
binoculars and sitting there at peace. The
Feels like
thermaling
cheating,
takes
doesn't it?
Sterling takes all that away. And I think
Yeah.
newer hunters are not going to learn how to hunt. They're going to learn
Yeah.
how to thermal, which is basically
Mm.
going to be how fit you are. It's going to
Yeah.
be the guy that can walk 25 Ks in a day. Thermaling is going to be the
Yeah.
most successful hunter there, which it makes me sad. It makes me sad.
Yeah. It's a bit
And
cheaty, eh? It sounds like you're trying to cheat in the whole what it's all about anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there's a little bit of my own personal story in there as well. And I
Yeah.
fully admit that, and I don't try and hide that. That's
Yeah.
Um, I think there's a beauty to being out there, which I think is detracted from. And there's another part of it as well, Carl. It's like if you're going to allow that, where do you draw the line?
Yeah,
If you're
that's
gonna
right.
if you're gonna allow it, okay, you allow that. What do you consider too far in terms of technology? Is it a
Mm.
drone that will go out and
Yeah. A
shoot and catch?
thermal drone. Yeah, thermal drone.
It's
Yeah.
gonna shoot the deer and then
Yeah.
lift it out. That where do you draw the line? At what
Yeah.
stage is it not?
Yeah.
Is it not cricket, as it were?
Mm.
Because if you
Well,
allow that, I don't know. Yeah,
well,
makes
then
me a
we'll
bit
we'll
sad.
lose
But
animals and we'll start having endangered animals and things like that, I guess would be the outcome from that.
in certain areas, you're exactly right. They have
Mm.
no defense against
Yeah.
thermals, and some Canterbury high country.
Mm,
Very difficult for animals to
yeah.
get away from thermals in most of that area there. Very
Mm.
susceptible to that pressure.
Yeah, I know what you mean
Um,
because I've got a hobby that's old school as well. I do archery, but with a recurve bow and arrow. And I've got a compound one, but
cool.
I actually like using the recurve because it's more, it's more at one with the body, and you kind of almost know where the bolt's going to go as soon as you release. It's
Ah,
that, yeah, and that's because I thought, I've been doing guns and stuff all that through my whole military career. I thought I just had this moment one day where I was like, I want to get back to basics. It was during COVID, and we are all locked up, and I was like, watched a couple of YouTube videos, brought some bows and arrows online, and set it up in my backyard, and self taught myself, and then yeah, I ended
When
up
you
yeah.
when you do it, Carl, when you do it, does it give you a meditation effect?
Yes, 100%. And that's
Does
why
it
I do
kind
it.
of just, and it's so, isn't it?
Mm,
It's so weird because in essence, it could be a hunting act or a violent act, or something,
yeah.
but the whole process of it is so therapeutic, isn't it? When
Yeah,
you when
well,
you're
I shoot
ah
targets, bro. So I don't even
yeah
shoot animals. It's just
yeah
that,
yeah
like when I go into the bush, I still track, but I don't have a weapon. So I just want to
sure
see if I've still got my skills there. But
yeah
I've always got this thing that I'll never shoot animals for sport. I will only shoot an animal if I need it, and I'm gonna,
gotcha, that's it,
keep the skin and use all the meat and use all the animals.
love
So
it,
don't get me wrong, I'm not against killing, but
yeah,
I'm against sport killing
love it,
for sport. But yeah, but with the bow and arrow, it's because it's your whole body and you're at one, and it's all your mind. Your mind is crystal clear, and you're on a task, and that's all you're doing, and it's very, yeah, you're very meditative and puts you in that present moment. And then when you're releasing that, and that bolt goes exactly where you were imagining it going, and you see imagine the flight path before it leaves, and then you actually watch it fly that exact same flight path and land on the
yeah.
spot, and it's going to hit there before it even gets there. That's the whole meditative side about it that I really love. Yeah.
Awesome. I'd love for you to come over and experience either a Saints event or just come over and we'll go for a walk up in the and and
100%, man. Yeah, I
and
feel like
and
this
arm
this is
tramp.
gonna, yeah, man. That'd be cool because I want it to be a Anzac type thing that I'm creating. So Australia and New Zealand. So I want to. Aaron Hole's got some good stuff going on as well. So yeah, want to come over and check all that stuff out, mate. Be really cool.
Good idea. Good idea. And did you ever watch the series The Walking Dead?
Yeah, mate. How cool's that? I
Yeah,
watched all of it. I think. Yeah,
but the guy with the crossbow
yeah.
looks exactly like you, dude.
All right.
He really looks like you, and that could be your thing. I wasn't named Darren or something. Yeah, you're you're
Yeah.
you're the guy. You're the
Yeah,
guy.
awesome, bro. Good
Oh,
stuff,
that's
man.
cool.
We've covered a lot of stuff today, and to be honest, man, the conversation was a lot cooler and more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I was a little bit apprehensive because we haven't spoken to each other for so many years, but like you said, it's and what I've said a few times now, it's and I think that's another thing that would be quite beneficial for anybody or any of the boys that are listening or watching if they have that sort of feeling inside themselves that they want to talk to one of their old mates that they served with, but they're like, they might think I'm a dickhead now or whatever. Man, no one really changes, bro. If we all got along back then like a house on fire, why wouldn't we get along like a house on fire now? Hey, so
100%, man. It's a network we need to maintain, and it's there for us when we need it.
yeah,
Absolutely. Even I've got guys in Dubai I could call on now, and they'd probably catch a flight over if I needed them. Do you
yeah,
know what I
that's
mean?
so cool, mate. Yeah,
The hard
love
the
it.
hard part is putting your hand up and saying, "I'm freaking
Yeah.
struggling."
Yeah. Do you want to, is there some things you want to talk about before we move on?
Think I've covered most of the stuff, but I'd love to come back on and do another chat with if you want. There's some other directions we can go in as well.
Absolutely. And you're not
Probably
the first person to say that. And
yeah, cool.
that's one of those things that really gives me confidence in what's going on at the moment because of a few of the guys I've done podcasts with, they've come back and they're like, that was awesome. I wanted to talk about this and I wanted to talk about that. And I said, well, don't worry, bro. You can come back on. We'll have another session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. That's good as yeah.
Yeah. Soldiers, sailors, and aviators, guys, all you veterans in New Zealand, if you're over there, look it up. It can be quite beneficial, mate. Get back to nature and do some hunting and learn how to do it the proper way by a real professional who's who's learnt the hard way, not by choice though. So that's awesome, Dave. I really appreciate it, and I'm going to send you a free T-shirt, mate. They're made out of
Thank you, brother.
100% organic cotton, and
Thank
the
you.
poster that's what's on the front of it. So yeah, I'll send you one of those over when we chat and we get some details a bit later on. But thanks everybody for watching the show, and thanks Dave for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it, and it's been a real honor and a really really inspiring story to listen to.
Thank you, man. I look forward to working with you in the future, brother. Thank you.